3,013 days ago was the last time Tottenham lifted a trophy. In the 18 years since, we have been through it all. However, if you watch until the end of this video, I can guarantee you will go into the new season feeling more optimistic and hopeful than ever that we can finally end that drought and lift silverware. People always tend not to judge pre-season too harshly. They feel like it isn't the right place to judge players, and particularly the manager. They don't like to see it as a reflection of what's to come in the season. I strongly disagree on that. Pre-season is the perfect place to sit down, take stock and analyse who your players are, who you can rely on. Is the manager making any changes? Tottenham have done and showcased so much during the pre-season that has just ended. We've seen Harry Kane come back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, our greatest ever goal scorer, and do a lap of honour in another team's kit because we haven't been able to match his ambition over the years. The club is running out of time to maintain its status as a serious big club across Europe. How many other teams are there out there that are considered a huge club but haven't won a trophy in 18 years? As Spurs fans, we have seen it all. We have seen the Conte period. We have seen the Jose Mourinho years. We have seen the Pochettino era. We have seen the lows of Tim Sherwood in charge of our great club. None of them have worked. None of them have had any success. I am convinced this time round under Ange Postecoglou, things are going to change. Pre-season on a whole has been positive for Tottenham. Yes, okay, we only played one very good team in Bayern Munich and we lost both of those games. But we have to look beyond the result to see what is going on and what we can expect going into the new Premier League campaign. And there is a lot to be excited about. Let me start with the striker that we've just signed, Dominic Solanke. Let me tell you how perfect he is for Ange Postecoglou's system. And I mean perfect. The way he plays, he is going to fit into that Tottenham shirt like a glove. Go and watch the video that Bournemouth posted of his 19 Premier League goals last season and look at the positions he takes up. And then watch a highlight package of a Tottenham game, just any Tottenham game across the last 12 months with Ange Postecoglou in charge, and tell me that Dominic Solanke isn't going to score a ton of goals in North London. He suits the system to a T. We love to use the width and the channels to get balls into the box to where the striker should be. We haven't always had Richarlison there available to do that, but with Solanke, we've finally got a natural-born goal scorer who knows where to be in the box. He can score from range, he can press, he's quick, he knows how to get in, he can win headers, he can score from close range, he can bully players, he can play with his back to goal. The man is going to be a revelation for Tottenham, I'm convinced of it. And that is only one thing that we can take away from this pre-season, and we haven't even seen him play yet. Let's move backwards to the midfield. The midfield is the most competitive area of Tottenham's squad that I have seen in a long time. Bringing Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray into the club were masterstrokes by Ange Postecoglou, and I cannot tell you for the life of me who is going to start in midfield for that first game against Leicester. I mean, Archie Gray alone looks like he could play in any position across the midfield or even the defence. And alongside Lucas Bergvall, who looks like he could do James Maddison's job as a creative midfielder. Both of them have excelled and been two of the standout performers in pre-season. It's why it's so important to have these games, to be able to look at your new signings and get to grips with what they can and can't do. And so far it's been overwhelmingly positive. They will battle with Yves Bissouma, with Rodrigo Bentancur, with Pat Matasar, with James Maddison for starting spots in this Tottenham team next season. There is no doubt about it. We have so much talent in that area of the pitch. And I think Ange recognises that. He's constantly rotating the options in that area. And I think he's seen enough now to know that he can rely on any of them to do a job. And too right, because we have got a lot of games coming up this season. Okay, yes, we know that pre-season hasn't been perfect. We saw it in the Bayern Munich game just gone that we are still struggling with set pieces and how to defend them. But that's okay. That's something that can be addressed at some point. Fundamentals of how Tottenham play under Ange Postecoglou are only improving, and you can see that tactically on the pitch as well. Another key takeaway from this entire summer tour has been that Ange is clearly addressing the issues that let Tottenham down last season. Let's be honest with ourselves, Tottenham were a bit of a mess last season. We went the first 10 games unbeaten, top of the league. We all thought we were going to win the title, and it all came crashing down. We saw heavy defeats at home to Chelsea. We saw red cards. We saw long-term injuries. Everything just went to pot. But now, there's a newfound confidence and swagger with some of these players on the pitch, and it resonates with the crowd and with the supporters who are watching them. They are excited by the players that we have in the squad. The attacking, aggressive, free-flowing football that Ange has finally brought back to the club has been a breath of fresh air, and I do think that links to the positive mood that all of us fans have at the moment. Okay, perhaps a slight negative that you can take away from pre-season, that there are still areas of the pitch that we need to address in the transfer window before it closes. We need a bit more quality in those wide areas. If we're going to feed Dominic Solanke all season long, we need players who are going to be able to consistently put crosses into the box and find him where he needs to be. Can Timo Werner do that? I'm not sure that he can. I think he's just a bit of a clumsy footballer, and I'm not sure that he has the quality we need to take that next step. I think it's been evident again in pre-season. Manuel Solomon looks like he's going to be leaving the club on loan. Brennan Johnson can do it, but can he do it consistently? And is there a place on the wing these days for Dejan Kulusevski, who's been playing excellently as a striker? These are all new questions that have been raised during pre-season and hopefully answered by Ange Postecoglou. Of course, it's always brilliant to have this competition for places, but if you want to go from a 5th place team who crashed out of both cups to someone that can be in the top 4 comfortably and be challenging for silverware in every other competition, you have to make sure that you are keeping up with your rivals, and Tottenham need at least one more attacker to be able to do that. Eberechi Eze is right there, and I know that Tottenham can afford him, even if they do have to pay that release clause up front. If Tottenham are a serious club, they go out and spend the cash is needed to make us a better team overall and give Ange those tools and weapons to compete. We finally got to saw how sound Tottenham are defensively when they have all of their starters in a backline together, with Porro, Mickey van der Ven, Christian Romero and Destiny Udogie all playing in that final game against Bayern Munich. When those 4 started together last season, Spurs had the 4th best defensive record. So yes, while it is still high risk, high reward football under Ange Postecoglou's system, we can rest easier knowing that we do have these players fit and available to us again. And they showed that they still have that quality in pre-season. And even if you don't agree with the points that I am making, you cannot deny that Tottenham's future is in great hands, and that is perhaps the big takeaway from pre-season. Tottenham's academy is phenomenal, and we witnessed it firsthand over 5 games in this summer tour. Mikey Moore, Alfie Devine, Will Lancashire, Jamie Donnelly, Tyrese Hall, just to name 5 academy players that have had minutes this summer and who have all impressed. Not to mention the redemption arcs for the likes of Jed Spence, who has come back to look like a completely new signing for Tottenham. I hope you can see what I'm getting at with this positivity from pre-season. There is so much to like about what is going on in North London at the moment. And the great thing about having all of these brilliant young players that have proved that they can compete with the starters in our team is that we are going to have so many games to play this season, and we're going to need them. One of the big factors for Ange playing so many of these young players in pre-season this summer will be to see if he can rely on them in those early Europa League games, in perhaps the early rounds of the FA Cup and Carabao Cup as well. And the answer is a resounding yes. You could even present the argument that some of these players like Lancashire and Moore and Devine deserve Premier League minutes now, which is just insane to think about when you consider the other areas of the pitch and how much depth we have in most of the positions now. Be positive with me. Think that we can do it this season. Think that we can finally get our hands on silverware. It is not impossible. Of course, you have to rely on things like luck of the draw and being able to perform when it matters, but I truly believe that Ange is programming each and every single one of those players to become winners. We have a mixture of experience and youth in our squad now. We have players that have been there and done that. World Cup winners, players that have won trophies at other clubs as well. What's to say that we can't go on a run and win something? Remember, this is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, one of the biggest clubs in Europe, whether people like it or not. The expectation at the start of every season should be to win something, and that is no different now. We are not the finished article. We are not at the end of the road, the end of the project. There is not that expectation that we have to win. I think that we could. Pre-season's taught me a lot, and I hope that you've been paying attention as well, because things are going to kick off very, very soon at Tottenham. There are going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be negatives, but there are going to be plenty more good things to talk about when it comes to Tottenham than there are going to be bad things. We have to keep the hope. We have to keep the faith, and we have to take this pre-season as a sign that we are finally back on the right path and heading in the right direction. Leicester are up first, and that's when we'll see what we're really capable of. I just have that feeling that this season's going to be a good one. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. And as always, come on you Spurs.